Hey guys, so in today's lecture, we are going to discuss boiler startup and shutdown and preservation. So, we will discuss in today's lecture what are the steps we need to take to start a boiler and what are the steps we need to take to shut down or stop the boiler. So, we will see one by one all the procedures which need to be followed in which we can start the boiler. So first let's start with starting up the boiler. So there are total 8 steps which we need to follow to start a boiler. So first is valves check. That is, we need to check all the valves and place in their startup position. So all the valves need to be checked before starting the boiler. Then second, check the water level safety. So second step is open the side gauge and water column, high and low water shut off valves to make sure that water level safety controls are blown out. So we need to check the water level safety. Then third is close the bottom blow down valves, then open the upper drum vent valves. So blow down valves need to be closed and the vent valves need to be opened to create venting. Then next step is main step is now we need to start filling the soft water. So after all the valves are checked, all the blow down valves are closed, vent valves are open, water level safety is checked. So now we can start filling with the soft water. So after we have started filling with the water, so what will be the next step immediately? So the next step is that now we inject the water treatment chemicals. So the water which we are injecting may not be according to the our requirement. So we need to inject chemicals, water treatment chemicals to treat the water. Then oxygen scavenger chemicals, so that chemicals are added with fill water. So these chemicals need to be added. Then after that chemicals has been added. So what will be the next step? So next step will be, next step is that once the water is full to the operating level, then we need to fuel open the fuel system and fire the boiler. So we need to ignite the coal and fire the boiler. So carefully bringing up the pressure up to 10 to 15 psi, that is pascals per square inch, with the vent valve open. So vent valve need to be open and we need to fire the boiler. Now after firing the boiler, what we will do the next step? So we need to follow, so we need to follow some curve. So the boiler warm up curve should be strictly followed. So the standard warm up curve for typical boiler is not to increase the boiler water temperature over 100 Fahrenheit per hour. So the boiler water temperature should not increase from 100 Fahrenheit per hour. So you need to slowly increase the temperature. You cannot increase very drastically. So we need to check the manufacturer's guideline who has built the boiler. So that guidelines need to be checked. So that is the step we need to follow. After that, next step is bring the boiler pressure up to operating pressure. So after the pressure reaches to 10 to 15 psi, then close the drum vent. So the vent need to be closed and slowly bringing the boiler pressure up to the operating pressure. So now we need to create the pressure. So vent is closed and the boiler pressure is brought up to the operating pressure, whatever is the pressure in operation. So that need to be done. And last step is to collect the boiler water sample and test it for proper chemical concentrations. So proper chemical concentrations need to be tested and adjusted if needed. So if any adjustments are needed, we need to adjust it. So these are the steps which we need to follow for boiler startup. So first three steps were checking the valves and opening the valves. Then a fourth step was start filling the water. Then fifth step was injecting the water treatment chemicals. Then sixth step is firing the boiler. Then seventh step is following the boiler warm up curve. Then eighth step is to bring the boiler to operating pressure. So these are the steps which you need to follow for starting the boiler. Now next is shutdown and prevention. So how we can shut down the boiler? So how we can shut down the boiler? So how we can shut down the boiler? So shutting down can be uh, shutting down can be short term, long term, or extended long term. Means till what time you want boiler to be shut down. So in on that criteria, the shutdown can be divided. So depending on time period, so we have divided. So first is short term. So if we intend to shut our boiler down for period not to exceed 3 days, so less than 3 days, so you may simply turn off the power, close the valves, and leave the water at the normal operating level without further preparation. So if less than 3 days, so we are not venting of the water. So water is kept as it is and we are just uh, simply closing the power and closing all the valves. So that is short term. Now next is long term. So if we intend to shut our boiler for period of exceeding 3 days but up to 14 days, so that is up to 2 weeks. So you what we should do, so we need to shut the boiler, fill the boiler completely with water, close all the valves, and take no further preparation. So we need to completely fill the boiler with the water and no other preparation. Then next is extended long term. So what is extended long term? So in extended long term periods, the shutdown is beyond 14 days. So in this extended period is called summer storage. So this is divided between two, either a wet layup or a dry layup. So you can shut down in two parts, that is wet layup and dry layup. So first we will see wet layup. So to keep the boilers free from rust, so uh, if we want that the boilers should not be rusted, pitting or corrosion while they are idle, so as they are not running, so it is recommended to store to shut the boiler be stored wet. So wet storage simply means filling the boiler completely with chemically treated water. So we need to uh, fill the boiler with chemically treated water, then closing all the valves and carefully monitoring the quality of water during the layup period. So this is divided into three categories. First is shutdown and drainage, then cleaning, and then storage. So for first shutdown and drainage. So shut down all panel, burner, pump, and control switches. So the next is close all the header valves. Then we have to close all the return valves to boiler and make up water. So that all valves, then close all the lines, then let boiler cool down overnight. So the boiler need to be cooled down whole night. Then open top try cock steam or relief valve hot water. So open the cock and relief valve so that the steam and hot water can be moved out. Then open and remove the manhole cover. So manhole cover should be removed. Then open blow down valves. So blow down valves need to be opened. Then start draining and cleaning low water cutoff by flushing at the same time. So open blow down valves and start draining and cleaning low water off by flushing at the same time. Then next step is using hose flush down water side of boiler through manhole opening. So pipe should be used. Then open washout and clean the plugs from front and back. So these are the steps which need to follow for drainage and shutdown. Then next is cleaning. So we need to clean everything. So what will come in cleaning? So remove first all hand hole plates. So all the plates we need to remove. Then clean breech and chimney. So chimney should be clean. Then swing burner out and cover with canvas or cloth. So the burner we need to cover with canvas or cloth. Then open all fire doors front and back. So fire door need to be opened from front and back. Then punch or scrape tubes. Operator should wear mask. So punch or scrape tubes. So the tubes need to be punched or scraped. Then vacuum out soot front and back of tube section. So the soot should be cleaned. Then using wire brush, scrape and clean firebox chamber. Then replace water gauge glass, clean pressure gauge glass, fire eye ignition orifice, burner, etc. Then we need to grease, oiling is to be done. Grease and oil all pump, fan and burner fittings. So all the fittings need to be greased and oils. Then check fuel oil level, add fuel oil, additive and have all tanks filled to top for summer storage. Then inspect boiler. Then boiler need to be inspected. Then storage. Last step is storage. So make all necessary repairs, replacement and paintings. So if painting is required for avoiding corrosion, if replacement is required or repair is required, so all things need to be done. Then we need to close all the handholds, use new gaskets, then close all mud legs openings, then close blow down valves, then close try cock or pop off valves, close fire side of boiler, all openings, connect burner, open oil lines and turn on all switches. Fill boiler to top with water adding required amount of water treatment and oxygen scavenger. Then fire boiler and heat water in boiler for 2 hours to remove the trapped oxygen. So these are steps comes under storage. So in wet layup, so the water is being chemically treated water is being stored in the boiler in wet layup, while in dry layup, as the name suggests, so we need not to store the water, so we need to drain all the water from the boiler. So we need to remove all the water from the boiler, wash and flush as necessary to remove sludge from water side, and use whatever method is available to completely dry the water side of unit. So a Cortec boiler lizard is to be used for dry storage. So what is it? So it is designed to maintain proper environment for storage. So it is important to seal the water side tightly from outside environment. So before putting your boiler back into operation, be sure to check your water treatment supplier to determine whether any changes in the treatment are needed to compensate for the changes in makeup water, operating conditions or other factors. So these are the shutdown and prevention steps which we need to follow. So in So shutdown we have seen short term, long term and extended long term. So for short term is up to 3 days, long term up to 2 weeks and extended long term above 2 weeks. In extended long term also uh, we can shut down in two ways, wet layup and dry layup. In wet layup chemically treated water is stored in the boiler, while in dry layup only all the water is been drained and no water is stored. So these are the steps of shutdown. So this is the last topic for the boilers. So from next lecture we will start next system, that is steam system. So this was the last topic for boiler. So steam system we will start from the next lecture. So how we can, what are the opportunities to conserve energy in steam system. So thank you very much.